How we doing this morning? So sometimes in life, seeds are planted in the best possible way, right? And we do so much work in the forgiveness department, but we also forget that forgiveness is part of us being obedient, right? It's a preemptive thing because we know, at least in the spiritual community, I think a lot of religious people know it as well, but maybe not to the degree. I feel like a lot of times, I know when I was attending churches, what I found is repetition. And this is no stab at church. Oh, okay. But I always found it difficult to connect with most sermons in the venue and the time allotted. And it's nothing against reverends or pastors, it's just the information is deep, and we all want to, make time to study and things like that. But I always got more out of Bible study, the discourse, the conversation. When you have a deeper question and you're not quite getting it from what it is you're reading, and you need an elder, right? Someone who has more insight, more knowledge and wisdom. But forgiveness, right? That's a very big message. But when we really, really do accept Christ, right? Forgiveness is the easiest thing. But those, like I said, in the spiritual community, because of the amount of recognized spiritual warfare, and so often, like times, you'll read things like, we don't wrestle against we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities in high places, etc. But when you really have to walk the walk to comprehend it, like to live it, the state of forgiveness is easier because, as we awaken, and even though they do a great job teaching the same things, but it's the no, right? And we're all children in our Father's eyes, right? And so how many of us like being told no because I said so? That is a massive trigger in our own spiritual wounded child, right? In a way that if we're not taught the reason, right, or given an explanation, yeah, they might listen, but that knowing why is there. And even though I'm a firm believer in, I don't want to say cherry picking, but giving a child enough information for them to comprehend, for them to form their own understanding, so they will become understanding, they will consent, because that's what understanding is. It is consent to the process, consent to the rhyme and reason, consent that it is truly for their own benefit. Forgiveness isn't always expressed in such a way, but it is for the person giving the act. It is much more beneficial to you. That is acknowledgement of your own journey, of your healing, of you doing the spiritual reparenting, if you will. So there's a lot, you know, but forgiveness truly is obedience. You should want to. How many times have we sought out our heavenly family for forgiveness, pleaded with them in such a way, like, I would love to consent. I would love to have the understanding. I would love to see what it is that I am doing, what it is that I am failing at in your eyes, so to speak. And even though we may not approach each other on this realm in such a way, with that sort of humility and meekness and want to get to know, to connect deeper, to have the best possible connections and relationships, you know? Right. So when I check the etymology, right, pardone, pardone, right, it's a Latin word. Like, so when we use the word pardon, it is a derivative of the word pardonar, right? But its English format is forgiveness. Oftentimes, I know myself, and in recent years, I have shifted from saying excuse me to pardon me, especially crowded environments where you have to, maybe push past another person, things like that. A pardon seems better. It invokes the spirit of forgiveness. That's why when people commit crimes, right, they are pardoned of their crime, right? They are forgiven because there are things that are reasonable, things that are beyond one's control, and we end up in various circumstances. But when we are honest and truthful, speaking about the courts, but our courts are supposed to emulate God's court, right? There's a level of reasonableness to actions, even if they're not 100% right. There's room for forgiveness simply by accepting your faults, right? That's usually how the road starts. We start within, we work our way out. And then some people started outside and then they had to find their way in. They weren't given themselves the same grace. And grace is all we have, grace and divine mercy, right? So forgiveness is really embedded in this process. So let's see. Old English word, right? Excuse me. It says to pardonare, which means to give completely without reservation. Of course you're forgiven. Of course. Of course. I made a short post the other day about um, the healed inner child, generational wealth, generational curse breaker, and generational wealth bringer, right? And so oftentimes, we inherit certain things, we have to work our way through, but it's the whole principle of walking a mile in someone's shoes. It's not supposed to be comfortable. They're not your shoes, right? It's not your, but you're trying to figure out your own journey. And along the way, you may demo a couple things. You may even, when grandma's cleaning out her closet, you may actually take a couple shoes, or grandpa take a couple shoes from their life, from their closet. But you don't know. We talk about things being hidden in closets, skeletons in closets. And oftentimes we are made overtly aware of the things that have transpired in our own families, our own lineages, by what repeatedly happens, not just to you, but to the rest of your kinfolk. So before you accept anything from another person, right, whether you care for them or not, the spirit of forgiveness needs to be invoked for the mutual benefit of the relationship that you're cultivating, right? Now, I do understand that there are, let me just rephrase that. I do understand, because we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, a lot of times the people we encounter are going through their own trials and tribulations for sure, but they are also people who have not even begun the awakening process. And so, just like, to use a scene from a movie everyone knows, The Matrix, the way the agents were able to morph from any person is because they were open conduits They had created so many ways into their spirit that these hopping energies could do just that. They weren't sovereign in their spirit. And so forgiveness, every day that we wake up, every day that we head out, every day, it should be on our tongues, on our hearts, and in our minds. If charity starts at home, and we'll get to that, the word charity, and how in tarot we talk about the chariot. Okay? When you participate in charitable events, right, you give usually to the less fortunate, or usually to a worthy cause, close to your heart or someone close to you, right? How many people have done the Susan G. Komen race for a cure, race walk for a cure, but you yourself weren't impacted directly, but someone you greatly cared about was. And so now you're out there bringing insight and knowledge and giving of your time and your energy for a worthy cause. Forgiveness is one of the most worthiest of causes. To absolve yourself of the burden of carrying around animosity, but also knowing what it's like to make that journey of forgiveness, to walk that very narrow path where you know it may not be reciprocal, but there it is all the same. And no, it's not about being a doormat. Okay, if you've come to this channel before, you probably already figured that out. That in no way do I expect, or the divine expects, right, anyone to be a doormat. Being meek of spirit does not mean being a doormat. It's being slow to anger, slow to react. It's so funny. We look at, I'm just going to use the Bible as, it's a beautiful book. It really is. It teaches so much. But there's a lot of duality in there. But if all you're ever presented with is the religious aspects, you'll never comprehend that duality. Because how can your God be all loving but jealous and vengeful at the same time? That is the spectrum, right? The contrast. The goal is to stay in the middle, right? Narrow is the path. But it's the way we react. How soon we react. Especially to those that we love, like we truly love. You can read throughout the entire book, every different, well, it's an anthology really, but through every different book in there, you'll see it within every character. That's why forgiveness is obedience. It's almost like foresight, having enough foresight to just, here you go, I remember that, I know what that was about. And it's literally learning from your own experiences, your own patterns, in order to raise the vibration just by extending that beautiful olive branch. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Why wouldn't our Father take that approach with us? Why wouldn't our mother take that approach with us? Do our earthly parents, for the most part, not do the same? Is it only when we cross a line that could truly harm us, for the most part, that they step in and intervene and sometimes have to put down a little bit of punishment, whatever that might be, for your own good, for your own benefit? And it's funny because sometimes it takes for you having your own children, your own experiences, to truly understand the why, the constant state of fear a parent lives in, the worry, the anxiety, the stress. Because you may want to provide X, Y, and Z. But never forget the most important thing to give a child outside of necessities is love. Truly unconditional love. The forgiveness. Not holding them. It's not holding accountable, because we've already covered that. But it's the process of being able to move forward and not hold a grudge against your own child because they were disobedient. Our Father's never done that to us. None of us are worthy, right? But He loves us still. And just because you create something doesn't mean it's always the best representation of you, right? Because we grow, we evolve, we change. You may look back at a segment of your own life and go, my God, what was I thinking of? Doesn't matter, right? You hadn't had the experience necessary to evolve your own soul, right? We're here for experiences, right? They're not always great experiences, but experiences all the same. And if you don't shake them off, just dismiss them, you may learn a great deal. Even in terms of those, again, if we know that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, and I cannot stress that enough, that so many people have created these openings within themselves, not just generational curses, y'all. People actively do things because they do it on impulse. They do it, listen, I'm human, I get it. This is not me. I don't do that. No. It's a place of true learning and humility. You just got to go with it. Forgive because you would want to be forgiven. Give grace because you would like grace. Be merciful because you would like mercy. Treat others as you would have them treat you. It is truly the golden rule. And so much in the spiritual community, we use the Fibonacci sequence, right? We talk about the golden mean and the golden bowls and the golden, all this gold, the golden egg and the cosmic, all of these things. These are, in essence, principles on an atomic level that we're all imbued with. Forgive yourself. Even if you got to look yourselves in the mirror, right? And be like, you know what? I forgive you. X, Y, Z. Oh, yeah, remember that time? Yeah, I forgive you. Yeah. Because it opens the pathway. Forgiveness leads to gratitude, because every time you take a moment to reflect and you realize how wretched of a human being you probably were at a given point, and it's not about shame, but the remorse you may feel about where you were then and where you are now. Forgiveness. Can't, well, you could, but it's not really helpful to your soul's growth to hold someone in time, lock them in place. Because when you do that, you, in essence, diminish the glory of our Father within that person. Now, there's a term I recently came across. I didn't come up with anything, but I came across NPC, non-character player. Now, some folks might think of these as soulless beings, and there very well could be. Like I said, those are people, in my opinion, that are open to any and everything. No foundations. They didn't start at square one, and I say that purposely. The fundamentals. From A we get B, from B we get C. Fundamentals. Oh, that's a jackhammer on a crane. The bulldozer with the claw, this is a jackhammer. So this seems to be very important, the fact that that sound is coming through so loud and clear. This is a point that must be hammered home within your own souls. Forgiveness is obedience. No matter what. Because divine justice is just that. Only those who do not practice forgiveness as a rule tend to experience, in a harsher purview, karma. Because if you don't forgive, right, and you're holding animosity or holding a grudge, that energy, right, it attracts. Whether you use the laws of attraction for your benefit, trying to create the life you really want in its highest vibrational form, or whether or not you're bottoming out and you're somewhere so low where it's just darkness and anything can pop up in the darkness. Just gotta forgive, y'all. Think about how better this world would truly be if we practice forgiveness as a form of obedience to our Father. Because we never have to retaliate in such a way. The universe deals with all things. Forgiveness, love, be of a peaceful, cheerful spirit. There are absolutes, the law of causality. What you put out, you'll get back. And no matter how much it may hurt, I've had loved ones, family members, gone too soon, taken out horribly. Horribly. But you have to, or I chose to say, those are the contracts they agreed upon. And that's hard. That is hard. Because you want justice. You want retribution. But what good is it to lose many more lives in the process? In your grief and your sorrow, in your state of mourning. Violence truly begets violence. It is interesting. Just take a step back. If we all just did our little part in trying to obey the walk that we've all been given individually, this would be a much better planet. Like a much better planet. Forgive, because every time you fall to your knees and ask your Father for forgiveness, our Father for forgiveness, you receive it. That's why. Because it is freely given unto you. And how dare you be stingy with what is free? It's for your own soul. All right. And I'm not going to go into the rewards. The rewards is a light soul. The reward is peace of mind, peace of your spirit. It's funny, right? Only through prayer and meditation will bring in the answers you truly seek, right? When it comes to any endeavor. If we prayed and meditated before we act, we would find that we would act less, love more. The act of love would supersede. Native Summer, Kangaroo. You feel that there is more to life than what you're living. And so it's time to move on. Maybe, excuse me, you may be moving from a situation that isn't good for you, or perhaps you're being drawn to what would make you happy. Either way, you're in control, right? Especially dealing with this, right? You are in control of your emotions, of your acts, your thoughts, right? Bygones, moving on, forgiveness. What does the grudge really hold? What does it do for you? Is it your motivation? Can you not find another way of being motivated without anger, without rage and ire, wrath? It's funny, right? There are the seven deadly sins, and then there are the seven beatitudes, right? They are opposite ends of the spectrum. We live technically in the middle, right? There's the upper world, there's the lower world, and there's the place where we reside. We seek the upper world, right? Some of us started down here. We had to work our way here to keep moving that way. But you get a choice in which direction that you choose to move, right? You can go the way of sin, the lower frequencies, the lower vibrations. We're talking, or you can choose to ascend higher, where the world is truly more enjoyable. But there's a divine lesson in all of it. Right. It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for what is right, they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, they will be shown mercy." Oh, pulling the rest of them up. That's 5 or 7. Now, there are great teachings, in-depth teachings on all of these. It says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God." Meaning you shall see God in every last person in your purity of heart. "Blessed are the peacemakers, they shall be called the children of God." Hey, down. You already knew. Thank you. Think about that. Blessed are the peacemakers. That's why I call him my father. It's funny, right? I've had an interesting week. I've had a lot of spiritual visitations. And like the extremes, by the way, that's what makes it so funny. I've had ascended masters come towards me. I've had dark feminine energy come towards me. It's interesting. The choices that we are given. But the dark, I will say, I'm grateful that the ascended master who blessed me showed first. But it's still a reminder, our constant choice to seek vengeance and retribution, or peace, love, forgiveness. Again, not telling you to be a doormat. Have good boundaries. Same time, you're in control on what you choose. It's funny. Dark feminine energy was very empowering. It was like presence didn't bother me, but it's interesting. I saw her so clearly in my mind's eye, and Funny enough, you know, a lot of times we think about darkness, we think about things that may be hideous or ugly, but not at all. Not at all. But we don't have to do anything. People invoke those energies to them. The fact that she appeared lets me know of other things that are going on in spirit, in the ethers. And the fact that she appeared lets me know, and it's right on cue. I don't need to tell you who. It's my business. It truly is. But just know, she is part of the great balance. We have both. We have both. Think about the, it's funny, that's why I brought up the chariot and charity, right? What do you give to? As you're in control as the charioteer, what do you give to? Do you feed your light? Do you feed your dark? Do you sit there and marinate and go, you know what? We must work together. They are one and the same for the exact same purpose, if you will. Each one of those horses are meant to drive and pull you to your destination, right? If you can get there with just two white horses, you would, metaphorically speaking. And if you can get there with two dark horses, you would get there, right? But we can't. And we should not, because that would be denial of the existence, of duality that lives inside of all of us and that is in every part of all of creation. It's a little pouch, right? Kangaroo. There's a little pouch inside of all of us that has those seeds. No matter if you Billy Badass, gunslinging, shit talking is whatever. It don't matter. There's still that soft spot in that Billy Badass. It could be for their wife, their daughter, their mother, their brother. It don't matter. But there is a seed of kindness and compassion and love. Not everybody gets it. That's reserved. And inside of every light worker, there is a seed of the darkest dark that ever darked. You understand? But you choose to reserve it, right? Patience, restraint. You keep it tucked away for a rainy day. But if you ever need to, you got it. There's no denial of self. In order to progress, there can be zero denial of self. And I'm talking about delusion. Know thyself. Like truly know thyself. Take all the time you need to investigate you, to love you. Love is a verb. And exploring those recesses is an act of love. How many times have you seen programs like Snapped? Oh, she just couldn't take it no more. Yeah, but you know what? That person might have been in denial of the rage and anger and all the crap that was within because they kept going, everything's fine. It's okay. It's okay. And then they just can't. And then they snap because they never took the time to know thyself. To know thyself. You know how many situations could have been avoided just by removing yourself from that environment because you were honest? If you don't think you're capable of harming someone, I think you're deluding yourself. You ever notice in scary movies, it's never the Billy Badass character that makes it all the way through? You ever think about that? It's always the innocent ones. Look who's on the bottom. Look. See? Empress Chariot. Look at this shit. See? It's funny that they have two white horses here, right? It's a lighter deck. There's the wheel, and there's the moon. There's the high priestess. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm getting at? without even messing around. They correlate what I've already said. Yeah, you can be light and love, but that dark energy is right there. It's just a twist of the will. It's a choice. We invoke wisdom and understanding. You choose the direction. Your perception chooses the direction. Is it all light? Is it all love? Is it all the world is ending, woe is me? Or is there a delicate balance that is being oscillated at any given time? Temperance, balance, the black and the white. See? It's no different. That energy oscillates. Eight of summer. State of wands. There's an ebb and a flow between these energies. If you stay in one or the other, the chances of life spinning out of control is very possible because you cannot ignore the truth. Sorry, the purples be jumping out at me. Right. Look, Hermit and the Hierophant. There is a need within to unify these energies. And I talk to myself as much as I talk to anyone else about these subjects, meaning as I'm speaking to you on a very soulful level, I am speaking to myself. But the arrival of the dark feminine energy lets me know it may be time for the collective body of the Empress energy, the divine feminine, to really get to know that you that nyam, 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 irrespective of gender, okay? Because look, isn't that funny? They're not even in front. They're sitting. That's why you're not moving. You're not progressing the way you need to because you need to tap into this energy. The power. Dark feminine energy is the shadow side of divine feminine energy. Dark feminine energy represents the fiery, transformational side of femininity that fuels the death and rebirth cycles, which is perfect. As we get ready to leave Scorpio season with the Scorpio new moon upon us, this is very important. Light feminine energy is all about nurturing, the nurturing side. This is a dualistic part, a spiritual view. It's necessary. It's very necessary. Don't deny yourself. I know without going, there are moments in my life where I look back and I totally tapped into this energy, but my life was at stake, and it shouldn't take that. There were many times before that I should have flexed that energy. Now, I don't think I have a problem really flexing that energy, but I'm always open to explore deeper understandings of it in its purest expression. It's not a bad thing. It's understanding who you are. It's going into those dark places. Understanding that you yourself are just as much dark as you are light. That you carry this with you. But sometimes you need to really stand in that power. It's fun that it's Firefly. This is deep. This is the integration. Full integration. This is, for some, the need to tap further into your own spiritual gifts. For those of you who have spent all your time and energy working with light energy, the next course is, if the light is in, let's just say, the passenger seat, it's time for the darkness within you to drive you. Power. Allow those subconscious thoughts, those primal instincts to come up. You have to work on accepting the dark side. It is nothing to fear. This is you. This is a part of you. This whole lesson in forgiveness is a part that you must forgive in yourself. There's no shame. This feels like having to recover from people's implementation, right? Yeah, you had to tame your own inner beast, but the loop never stops, right? It's all part of you. It's time for you to show that side of yourself, not just to the world, but it's you. You are empowered. You are strong. You are confident. You are capable. You have great instincts. Use them. Ah, this is a go-getter energy. They want that out of you. Just because we are in more of the emperor energy, right? It's a lot of logic, a lot of thinking. Act, move, do, follow those intuitive nudges. Speak your truth. Sometimes those intrusive thoughts that people have, that it is what it is. But that's this energy coming up. There's a reason why, for those of you who are in connection with your spirit guides, they're not all nice, are they? Matter of fact, they don't really care about people's feelings too much. That's why we readers oftentimes try to, find nicer, kinder ways. But at the end of the day, we get chastised for that. We absolutely get chastised for that, for sparing and mixing their words. No, say it the way they say it. Make it plain. It's supposed to be cutting. It's supposed to be jarring. Understand they're helping you stand in your truth, in your power. They don't want you suppressing it. Too often, you just gotta, be diplomatic. You just gotta be so nice, so respectful, intelligent, impartial, respected, unemotional. No, those emotions are a part of the package. Some of the most clever things I've ever said came off some off the cuff, just, you know what I mean, the darker side of my personality just popping up. And that is much more relatable to the average person than kumbaya, light and love, forgive and turn the other cheek. It is. It's much more reasonable to people who struggle, to people who are always presented, oh, you must be your best, you must do your best. Listen, we're human. And if my God can be vengeful, and if my God can be jealous, then it's well within me. Doesn't mean I have to exercise it. It means I must recognize it. That cold and calculated energy that comes off of the masculine principle is their seed of their inner feminine, the dark energy within. It's the pouches. Those dark seeds are what connect us to the most primal part of the cosmic womb. It's an incubation space. Think about it. A kangaroo and koala and all the marsupials, right? They start out, they're naturally birthed, right? They come out the same way we all come out, through the loins of a woman or a female of any species. Doesn't matter. That's the way it happens. Mammals, right? But then it has to inch its little self all the way to the pouch. It has to secure itself and latch on itself. Even though they're feeble, even though they're so small and they're so vulnerable, they are built with the gumption and the wiring of survival. They know exactly where they're supposed to be, right? They inch until they get themselves into their little pouch. And there they stay, nestled in that beautiful pouch, that sack, right? Latched onto a teat, feeding and being nurtured, warmed, but very much in the dark. I don't know at what age a joey pops out of its mama's pouch, but they're pretty sizable when it starts to happen. From them being born the size of a fucking thumb. But that is the process. We are born, and then we must latch on, right? We must find our way to sustenance. We must journey through what seems to be perils to get to our source of nourishment. The milk is white, the inside the pouch is dark. Contrast, duality. Do you understand? It's so funny. The polar bear is another great example. The polar bear skin is jet black, but the hair itself is hollow. It's hollow. So it reflects the surface that they live in, right? The white snow. But they themselves are born of the darkness. It's the only creature I've ever seen where you could tell it was a God design, because most fair furred animals have a higher risk of skin cancer, right? From sun UV. But because their skin is black, they have the natural melanin, the necessary cosmic juice to sustain them in this environment. So you only see what you see, but they are more than conditioned for their environment. Same thing. All of these creatures live in extremes. Caribou, the polar bear, the kangaroo, the lynx, the snowy owl at that, and the Arabian horse. Think the only one here that doesn't live in extremes is the empress, the Angora rabbit. But it's hunted and kept for its beautiful fur, right? This energy, in essence, breeds a type of codependency in its purest form because you have so much that others want, right? But it's funny because you see the lily and you see the butterfly, this energy of birth and redeath. death and rebirth, excuse me. It's the dark energy. In order to create, in order to cultivate, you must remember your roots. Before you got here, you had to go there. This is a very spiritual marriage within. You must harmonize these energies. You must. This is the phase of the femininity for those. Like I said, this journey is not linear. We jump back and forth and back and forth. When the wheels spin, you ever seen The Price is Right? Or even Wheel of Fortune? They get their hand on the peg and they spin and they wanted to land on a particular spot, but the reality is no one knows where that damn thing is going to stop. You see all the positions and you see like, oh, whammy, bankrupt, whatever it is, whatever the show is, right? It's difficult to be calculating when you're dealing with concepts and ideas and energies that are outside of your control. So the best thing to do is be adaptable. Very much so. This is Father. These two energies, unity. It's simultaneous. It helps you with the Emperor energy. There's a lot of changes coming. Butterflies, 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 butterflies. They're everywhere. Every one of these cards that is out here, not even in the deck. There's no butterfly in the humpback well. But magpie energy. All that glitters is not gold, right? But I also see it as, you're valuable. So don't take losses because people know that you're valuable, know who you are, master your cutoff game, your boundaries. You're not a scent. You're not easy pickings. Magpies tend to see what they want and they pilfer it. They just snatch it. Never forget that you are the key. You truly are the key. This energy needs to freely flow. It really does. In you. You're, again, this energy of birthing, right? You're ascending, you're climbing. But never forget, we are born out of darkness. A type of triple darkness. Your eyes are closed. You're in the womb and you are ignorant. That is a triple darkness. Protect your energy. Some of this is what this is. I'm not telling anybody to play with dark shit, but I am seeing you to increase the way in which you protect yourself in spiritual warfare. You might have to, I'm not saying play dirty, but you might have to use a little of your inner dark feminine, whatever that means to you. Oh yeah. Cause I see one more thing. It's all right. It's a It's that same energy we pick up on, but this time this person is being shown in their true essence, the Queen of Pentacles and the Two of Swords, Junior High Priestess card. So this person, this energy, but it's a person, right? Queen of Pentacles is, Pentacle energy is a real thing, tangible items, right? This is a real energy, this is a real person who, to be quite honest, can't hold a candle to you. So you're going to have to play a little dirty. This is the new path. Alright. The more you F around, the inevitable is the more likely you are to find out. I'm just telling you. However you're going to work that out, you're going to work that out. But it's going to come out of you. It really is. Like this, whatever this is coming forth. I know the dark feminine energy that crowned on me was very interesting, and I really feel sorry for any. I really do, and I'm not boasting. It was a lot. It was a lot, and I was just like, wow, wow. So I know the energies spiritually that are hovering, and they've already been unleashed to do their thing. There's nothing I can do about it. It's necessary. That's all you can say. It is necessary. You ever heard the term a necessary evil? Okay. And I do not play with evil. I'm just saying. It's a necessary evil. But there's this energy of, for your own protection, for your own good, yeah. They come from the same source, as you see. All the way up. They stem from the same, they split, but they come from the same place. All you gotta do is tap in. If you so choose, Holy Spirit. Let's keep everyone properly protected. But if you wish to tell me how the collective is to tap into their own dark femininity, I am open to receive that message. Look at this shit. The devil comes flying out. That's a little unnerving. Because look. Like I said, this is so funny. Y'all about to have like a this feels very much like dream space, but they're about to show you different ideas, the way in which you used to move, and they about to show you some other parts of your lineage. I showed you the Two of Cups for a reason. Okay? Ooh. Because they like, oh, it's a war you want? Look, somebody about to, Jesus, Lord. Look, somebody about to show them how dark it can get. Because somebody about to, look, blow out the light, so to speak. See the strength card? You don't need a light source. You are the light source. You got spiritual protection on this part, through every part of the journey, but there's something more pronounced. See, look. See? As you grow and you go through these different iterations in your spiritual journey. See, look at the Empress sitting there. Look at the child. But see that dark side of the personality? Lord help them. And I mean that. They really about to show you some shit. You're being invited. Whatever that is, you're being invited. There's nothing to fear. You've already overcome. This is not about, this is you utilizing the friendships and connections that you made when you had to go into, let's just say, the afterworld, the afterlife. When you, again, go through so many of these death and rebirth processes, you pick up some heathens along the way. Look, they was just waiting. I thought you'd never ask. That is wild. It really feels as though, yeah, these energies will be hopping in and out. You're going to be taught directly. Directly. Nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. You can't have fear and be at this part of the journey. I'm just telling you now. You can't. They need you to tap into this. They're going to show you how. It's not always, oh, it's evil. No, it's not what this is. It's not. This is you tapping into what you. It's buried. It's dormant. Moon. It's rising. It's time. These are gifts from your ancestors. I'm gonna tell you right now, I got chills as I'm even thinking about it, so I know it's right. If you're not familiar with the role of a Sangoma, you might want to look into it. They've held this back from you, but now you need to know, because you need to know what kind of power you're really working with. I'm just going to give you briefly. As far as I have been made aware, a Sangoma is someone who can control life and death. You can either bless them or curse them. You're very stunned. This is why you must tap into this energy, this rage and fiery passion. There's some serious juice within you. It's time. It must rise. They have no idea. Yeah, but this is all part of your journey. Okay? Get comfortable being uncomfortable with this one. But the amount of growth that you're about to see, this, again, this has nothing to do with evil. Nothing. This is about you. And that's the thing about it. You might need to forgive yourself because of perception about certain things. Like I said, we are born in darkness. This energy is for your own protection. It's taken this amount of time because this is nothing small to wield. I mean that. Nothing small to wield. Because whatever you put your focus on, that, like I said, you be a blessing or be a curse. You like I said, life or death. I pity the fool. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a power that your ancestors have had. This is, mm, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. No. Right. So when I'm gonna say this. These traditions and practices, it's like, let's just say African shamans. Yeah, they are healers, but this is a different role of healing. It just is. Oh yeah. This is like you getting the rest of the contents of your spiritual medicine bag. There's a dark side and a light side. Most people are only familiar with the side of these shamans as healers. There is a different side, a side that allows them to really do some damage. It's all part of balance and order. Like I said, I am talking to my light workers who have been stuck in the kumbaya, the light, and the love. Now I'm hearing Christina Aguilera, you time to get dirty. Yeah, right. I really hope you all are excited for this new phase, for this new level of knowledge, this new gift that your ancestors are presenting you with. It's like they're opening the door for this stage for you. They really are going to show you what you were in a previous lifetime when you had this role. This is why you're here. It's not unfinished business, but you're necessary. Exactly. Let's see. Sangomas, highly respected healers amongst the Zulu people of South Africa. They diagnose, prescribe, and often perform the rituals to heal a person physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. The Sangoma may address all of these realms in the healing process, which usually involves divination, herbal medicine, and specific customized rituals to cure illnesses and restore well being. Let's see. It says in traditional Zulu, God is rarely involved in human affairs and is not a common cause of illness. However, God delegated many administrative functions to the ancestors, who therefore are actively and constantly involved in the world of their living. As a result, there are frequently they are frequently suspected of being responsible for sending illness to the living, right? So a lot of people be blaming each other's ancestors, like, no, your grandmama did that to me. Like, it's so funny. Anyway, they do this not out of wickedness or caprice, but to punish the living for not abiding by the ethical standards of the community and to remind them of their imperative duty to live a moral life. Failure, for instance, to conduct certain important rituals or violation of a taboo may result in the ancestors' wrath manifested in a form of sickness. One is then in the state of spiritual pollution and imbalance, which must be redressed. It says once a Sangoma has used divination to establish the exact cause of illness, certain rituals can be conducted to appease the ancestors, thus restoring health. The behavior that angered the ancestors will also, of course, not be engaged again. Now, this is very important for those of you. It's not about you being of Zulu descent or anything like that, but for those of you who practice ancestor veneration, this is why it's important to understand that sometimes you just be pissing your people off. In addition to the ancestors, witches and sorcerers have the ability and may have the desire to harm others. They may house evil spirits, use medicines, take on animal or other forms, and resort to several possible agents to hurt other people. Witchcraft is taken quite seriously in Zulu tradition. It is dreaded, given the devastation it can cause a person their life. As a result, people often take precautionary measures to circumvent evil attempts at harming them. They may engage in rituals whose express purpose is to appeal to the ancestors for protection against witchcraft. They may also choose to wear protective devices, such as amulets, which are often fragments of bark or roots tied around the neck and sucked on. Right? Sangomas neutralize malevolent forces unleashed by a witch or a sorcerer. And we've been picking that up for a while. This is the thing about this, um, the root workers that we've been picking up on, especially this Queen of Pentacles energy, this low level, we'll just say high priestess. Okay. Right. You cannot choose this path. I want you to know that you were picked for this path. Just like many are called, few were chosen. There's no different. You'll know. Right. Right. Here, it breaks it down. So it's the calling, right? An individual who is called to be a Sangoma must be called by spirit. The calling denotes an ancestral and cultural responsibility and is initiated usually by an illness, which is accompanied by strange dreams and visions. The disruption in the daily life and the person causes him or her to seek the services of various healers. Because of the availability of Western medicine, traditionally speaking, now in South Africa, many individuals who are called are known as apprentices, and they often try in vain to be cured by modern medicine before ending up with a Sangoma who can correctly identify the issue. The identification begins with an initiation period, which lasts from months to years depending on the circumstances. Most Sangomas are female, although there are no restrictions. This is why I'm telling you about this dark feminine energy. It all makes sense. I got chills rippling through each and every one of these. If you feel like you are being called to this path, you already know. And here's the funny part. Some of us, right, you do things innately. Like you were being, like it's your ancestors and the divine. Like your spirit team is different. If we have been cut off from our ancestors, right? Now I don't mean spiritually. I mean our direct knowing and lineage and those cultural things. But it's within you, and you feel it. Like you really do feel it. You'll know. It's like people on this track, people who have begun the initiation, you naturally just start doing things. Like you reject certain foods, you abstain from sexual activities. There's a lot that goes into this renewing and cleansing of your spirit. Right. It's funny. Some of you, part of the whole process is searching for unbroken bones. It's funny. There's a whole feast and thing that goes into it. But it's funny, when you're on your own doing these things, you will find that you are led to pick up certain things. It's the best way of putting it. Right. Sangoma reads the energy to detect the presence. Let me see. Is that the right translation? No, excuse me. They read the bones. That's a different word for bones. Okay. To detect the presence of spirits around a sick person, resentful ancestral spirits, offended nature spirits, and malevolent spirits. In serious cases, divination is repeated in 3 areas in nature to establish the validity of the reading. They are, in essence, soul doctors. That's this. You see this? Unity. That's the Hierophant. You see the Hermit. This is Sangoma energy. Do you understand? You really should read up on this on your own time, like you should. There's a lot to be gained in this process. You may see things very, very different. You may start to understand the dreams that you've had, which seem like nightmares. Like they said, this initiation can go on for months to years. And if you are being initiated directly by spirit, your life has been an initiation. Wow. It's interesting. You're gathering strength from your ancestors. They're pouring into you. Strength with the death card, they are pouring into you. You have shown great courage and great strength. Man, they've been waiting. Boy, they've been waiting. 7 of Pentacles, look. Temperance. They've been waiting. They knew. They're overjoyed right now. Because look at you. 9 of Cups. Star. Hierophant. You were chosen for this. Out of all your kinfolk, through all the generations, think about that. You were chosen for this. How beautiful does that make you feel? That they thought you were worthy of taking the charge. of fighting the good fight. It's no small feat, but it is something to be incredibly excited by. Incredibly excited by. And so much, right? Again, going back to the beginning of this reading, it starts with forgiveness. Because some of us have been a little slow to do some of that deeper healing work when it comes to those ancestral lines. And so that might have just slowed things down just a little bit. Little bit. Just a smidgen. But here we are. They firmly got their hands on you. I want you to know that. They are steadying you through this process. Steady, not study. Steadying. Keeping you grounded. They have a firm hand on you. Nothing. Yeah, look. It's time now. Look. It's time now. Will, magician. Will, high priestess. With the moon. Come on now. Come on now. Woo! I feel like they've been waiting. Woo! Long time coming, babies. Yes. Wow. And it's okay. It's okay, my eye ducks. You know, because ducks fly together. Just remember that. It's okay. You're never alone. I mean, they have a very firm hand on you. Man, they ready. You got all the skills. If no one has told you they're proud of you today, I am proud of you. Because this is a hell of a path. Hell of a journey, ain't it? We're just going to say those who live in... No, we'll say that those people whose purpose is to be opposition, they were afraid of this moment. Truly afraid of this moment. There are many more cards here of you working with your dark energy than there are light, because you spent not too much time, but enough. It's time to let that other shit take the lead. And again, this is not speaking of good and evil. No, this is more complicated than that, quite actually. This is soul's alchemy. This is what I'm telling you. This is what they feared. This is why they tried to bind you. They didn't want you to be this great healer. If you are a soul doctor, think about that. That is a healer of ages, is it not? Very much so. Because now look at you. Live and in living color. I pity the fool who gets before you in your discernment. Do you understand? This is why they waged this war the way they did. This spiritual battle, ma'am. The way they did. Doesn't matter your gender. We all have to go through this phase. Now look. Now look. Now look. Look at you. Look at you. Your ancestors are pouring in, and I mean that, after being locked out. Now you know why. They about to download some serious shit into you, baby. I mean that. Ooh, all systems are a go. Look at that. Look at that. Your masculine and feminine are now balanced and connected. Look at that. Your light and your shadow now balanced and connected. You are literally firing on all cylinders. You know how to get what you want just by using your words. So whatever you've been going through in terms of Tower, it has been by grand design. They needed you here. Not in the Queen of Cups, Queen of Swords. You was lingering too long. Lingering too long. You wasn't feeding it enough. They had to get you up. Look, that shit's over. That kumbaya, nope, stick a fork in it. It's done. Now they really like, bitches come. Like I'm not even playing. Like this is so different. Now you waiting on them. Now you just like, I wish I knew I was. Yeah. Time's up. Time's up. Why they start playing, quit playing games with my heart. Look, didn't I tell you spent too much time here? Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. I'm telling you, this is what they were afraid of. Because they knew once that Queen of Swords energy showed up, there's no going back. There's no going back. And it's not because you're cold or anything. It's because it's necessary. That is the evolution. So, cups to swords. But you've already been here. Do you understand? See the masculine. Like you've been making inroads in both realms simultaneously. That's why I said this is not a linear journey. It's like the teacup ride at the carnival, where you got the rung in the middle, the wheel, and you turn it and you can go faster and faster, but they keep looping you around on different tracks, but you're spinning faster and faster. It's a little kiddie ride, but if you keep that wheel going fast enough, boy, you'll feel like this shit right here, all shaking up. Oh yeah, the amount of enlightenment that's coming from this phase of the journey. Don't get it twisted. You're gonna be in this pinnacle energy real soon. When I say materialization, I mean that it will materialize. This is you mastering all of manifestation, the emotions, the juice, the intelligence on how to communicate to the universe. All of it. It's coming. It's very much coming into focus. You got to be hungry, baby. I know you watching. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. This person right now is going, they're moving between pillar and posts, and they have a young child. I'm sorry to hear that. It ain't my business. I mean, I know you be trying to make your anger and your issues my business, but it's really not. That's between you and God or whomever you serve, because I highly doubt it's my father. I'm just telling you now. It's okay. You are forgiven. I want you to know that. You are forgiven. Because I know you created portals and openings in yourself that made you an NPC, for lack of a better term. You're not even a real character player at this point. You're like Pinocchio. You want to be real, but you're not. And that's okay. Life will come up with a wonderful series of events for you to situate yourself and see correctly and become the real person that you wish to become. You've been asleep for a very long time, and I get that. And that's unfortunate. You were robbed of innocence, and I know that. But a lot of people were. Just because they took your body does not mean they took your soul. That is only something you can part with. I don't have pity because pity doesn't serve anyone, but it is sad. It is truly sad that not only are you in that energy, but the child, and I don't mean a minor, I mean early 20s. It's a shame that that same cold, heartless sort of energy you carry, you have passed on. It's a shame. It really is. Yeah. It's all right. Yeah. I see that. I saw that. Yeah. You know, it's just unfortunate that you felt like you had no other way than to make that deal. You were not brainwashed. But there's still hope, I see. You may make something of yourself yet. Right. Let me try shuffling these a different one because they are hard to shuffle. I should have pulled it. That's so funny. Three of Autumn. Miniature poodle dog. Your most satisfying and profitable career comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talent and true self to shine forth into the world. Hmm. Hmm. Very much so. Look, your talents. Look at that. The magician, the unicorn. There is magic in the air. You can manifest everything you need to be successful. See what I mean? It's beautiful. Oh, all right. Don't be afraid of your power. It's all necessary for you to manifest your goals. Okay. I hope this helped you guys. I really do. We'll do this again later. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for your likes, shares, subscribes. Your donations are greatly appreciated but never anticipated. Blessings. Bye.